So I was prancing through the internet the other day. I want that. It is time to transform our beautiful Boby Duke into a pattern, and what fabric could I use other than this perfect one made out of wood itself? I will stamp my favorite pieces of art made by our one and only wood carvers, such as his beetle, Winston the skull, the infamous mug pouring a rainbow, the knife, the other skull thingy, his wood logo, some raw materials he used like the 8-ball, the screw, some wooden planks, a pencil, and of course a mustache, which is not a material. But look at this epic stash. How could I leave it out? Just look at it. Look at it! For this project you will need 5 meters of wood fabric, boning, stamped rubber and carving tools, fabric paint, a sponge, a sewing machine or your hands, a pencil, some pins, a sketchy ruler and some snaps. I begin by sketching my designs onto the rubber directly, aside from the wood logo that I traced onto paper first due to the amount of detail. Bear in mind that everything needs to be carved backwards for it to appear the right way once you stamp it onto something. Once I was satisfied with the shape and size of my drawings, I proceeded to carve the rubber with my very cheap rubber carving tools that I got from Amazon 140 years ago. Just remove the rubber in places where you don't wish the paint to be and leave it where you want it to show the lines. Play with negative spaces and shadows if you wish. I like very cartoony and simple styles, so my stamps reflect that. But feel free to come up with more intricate designs if you so wish. Here I give Winston a go with a little bit of paint to check if everything is according to my plans, and I remove some bits and pieces where I think the design is not looking okay. Voila! A beautiful Winston. So I carve, test and adjust all the rest of the stamps until my very annoying self is satisfied and my hands look like I committed murder. And now it's time to prepare the beautiful wood fabric. I want to go for a lumberjack style, so plaid it is. Oh yes, I'm using a watered down red fabric paint and a paint roller to make stripes. You can recreate this with a sponge too if you don't have a roller at hand. I am not being careful to make straight lines at all because I have earthquake hands and I gave up on that a long time ago, so this is my life and a design choice that represents me as an artist and a designer. Yeah. I was just trying to make sure they're somewhat the same distance apart from each other. That also failed miserably. Don't judge me or my earthquake hands, okay?
One eternity later.
Well, I finished now the 5 meters of fabric and now I need to make the perpendicular lines. But for this I will have to move this mess to the cellar. Follow me, please.
So now it's just a giant wooden tablecloth. But I have a problem because my table is not long enough for 5 meters of fabric. I do have another one, but it's over there. Right there. So you can see how that's not an option right now.
I think I should change my intro to hello and welcome to Seamstressed, where fashion comes to die. After several minutes of wrestling the fabric on the table, I have an idea.
Ha 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 ha.
Did you see that? No, the clamps didn't work and they kept flying around the room, but I was able to stabilize the fabric somehow to finally make the beautiful squiggly lines.
I dropped paint on the floor. More and more this place looks like a murder scene.
Here too, no care for straightness, just somewhat equally distant stripes.
Now this needs to dry so I can roll it back together and do the other side.
In the meantime, I will tackle that mess over there. After all stripes are done and dried, it's time for some fun stamping action. For that I need my gloves, just for fashionable reasons, for I have no problems getting my hands dirty. Here I chose black fabric paint. There is no particular order or disposition here. I chose to do a random print, but you can do a more geometric one if you so wish. Just go with your gut. This is your design and you are free to do what you please. I like this. Very chaotic.
4.5 meters later.
Inspired by this picture over here, I will create a steampunk-lumberjack look because I wish this fusion to haunt your dreams forever. I want a strapless body with a princess seam and a pointy whatever thing for a neckline, a bolero with a high pop collar, and a ruffled half skirt. For the bodice, extend the waist dart upwards and move the armhole dart to the shoulder and the side seam dart to the waist, creating a nice beginning of a princess seam. Close those darts by folding your pattern so you can through your neckline before cutting all those pieces apart. It sounds complicated, but it isn't. I believe in you. You can do this! Through all your seams to check if everything is matching and round out the edges for those two pieces for a more flattering line. Bear in mind that we are using the upper part of this body sloper to create our bolero, so don't throw those pieces out. For the back, cut it straight on the bust line, divide the pattern in two by removing the dart and creating the princess seam. That's it, the back is very easy. Supper time!
We ordered sushi today. And look at this. This is what will happen to you if you don't behave.
Cut your toile. Make the necessary alterations before cutting your real fabric. I have to be honest, I don't generally do this because I like to live dangerously. But since this fabric took so long to make, I decided to play safe this time and do it. I had a few adjustments on the waist and on the top of the princess seam. Don't forget to name your puzzle pieces so you don't get lost. Now cut your beautiful wood fabric, minding all the seam allowances. Here I was being careful to match the lines on the print so it doesn't look weird from a distance. After cutting, pin all the pieces right sides facing and sew it together. There is no possibility of pressing the seams on this without setting fire to the house, but the upside is that this fabric doesn't frail. Well, it's made out of wood. Surprise, surprise. So there is no need to jeopardize your overlock machine to finish any seams. Just leave them raw and rustic. I decided to cut the curvy seams to release a little bit of pressure and ensure a better fabric behavior, and then I pinned the seams open for a few days since we are not able to press them. Now the skirt base is pretty easy. Just cut an A-line shape measuring 1/4 of your waist by the length that you need for the back and cut it in fold. For the front, use the same measurements but add 2 inches for the front closure and cut this in half, separating both pieces. Here I wanted a weird front opening to show my legs, so I simply cut a curvy shape off for effect. So all those pieces right sides facing, and it is time to add some ruffles. I am cutting random stripes of wood fabric, a lot of them, so many that my hand flatlined for a few minutes. Pleat them, also randomly because math is overrated. Take this advice at your own risk. I decided not to use my Rolls Royce to sew this in place because A, it does not do zigzag stitching, and B, it is a very thick layer of wood that I was not sure the machine was going to survive. So sacrificing my brother machine to the gods of sewing was the cheapest decision than to explode my industrial grade machine. Those things are pretty sensitive if you ask me. After this intense workout that my jello arms are not used to, I was satisfied with the number of ruffled layers I had, and it was time to take Sushi the dog for a walk, Boby Duke style.
The hell? Shoo-shoo. Yeah.
Now the bolero thingy. Using the spare parts from our body sloper, I came up with this simple design, and the only change I will make is to add a very big pop collar to this. So all the pieces right sides facing. To pattern the collar, join the bolero pattern by the shoulder seam and trace the neckline on a new piece of paper. Trace the shape of the collar that you wish to have and test it on your sewn bolero using a muslin or scrap fabric. Make the necessary alterations to ensure it will stand up. Here I just had to remove some fabric by making darts and shaving them completely from the pattern, meaning that my collar has no sewn darts but lesser fabric as a whole. My collar consists of 4 pieces. One set is the outside and one is the lining, and I have a seam in the center back. So all pieces right sides facing, and don't forget to mark the shoulder and center back notches on the pieces so you can place it correctly when sewing.
These 2 bananas turned into this big banana that will now be attached into this floppy thing.
Pin and sew right sides facing.
Ta-da!
I have a pop collar! Oh my god! What the hell?
What? I've never done this before. Sometimes I'm amazed that things work out. Bam! One piece out of 300 is done. Next!
Supper time!
I'm eating muesli for dinner today. Look at it. This is what will happen to you if you don't behave.
The final finishes on the bodice. I am exhausted!
So now I have the bodice, and hopefully these are somewhat open. Yes, they stayed.
So aligning right sides facing. I used the muslin I had sewn before because laziness and material recycling. Let's take care of the planet, shall we?
I have my wooden boobs lined. I will just add a flare to this.
Right sides facing!
Now I need to install a zipper. Bam.
Not this again.
Previously on Seamstressed.
Zipper installed. I tried it on and it's looking frumpy, especially in the boob area, so I will install some boning, but to the lining only.
No one deserves a frumpy boobage, seriously. We all have to deal with that at some point in our lives, but I am too young for plastic surgery.
And my boobs like wobbly. Yes, they're wobbly. And that's not really flattering.
So brace yourselves for the laziest boning installation ever. Ridgeline on the wrong side of the facing using a zigzag stitch on all seams, or at least where they were supposed to be. I am not even using a matching thread color. That's how naughty I am.
Ta-da! The worst job inserting boning ever seen. And do not ask me what happened here. I will never tell. The frumpiness is gone.
This goes to show you that the inside beauty doesn't matter, only the outside is important. Supper time!
You pooped in my garden. We're having chili for dinner today. Now all finished from the inside. I added a bias tape here so these things don't stab me.
The only thing left to do now is to fix the closure for the bolero and the skirt.
I think I will have to use some brute force.
And that's exactly what I did. Some really cool snaps. Snaps! Now it's finally time for the reveal.
Super A.
And this is the final result of months of hard work with this beautiful wood fabric. This is mostly used for designing accessories, and I don't know how it would behave on a long term of wearing and moving around. You can definitely not wash it, but it's surprisingly nice to work with. I could not let this costume go without a proper top hat, and I will teach you how to make that in a future video, so stay tuned for more. Even Sushi got a nice bandana. Germany is easing the quarantine rules, so we decided to go for a nice walk in the park where we know people don't generally go. Stay safe, people. Overall, this costume is very comfy and I have no trust in my lumberjacking abilities. I know my projects and tutorials seem insane and too quick to follow, but believe me when I say anyone can do this. You just need to start. Failure is a part of the process and I fail a lot. Boby Duke himself always mentioned how insecure he is sometimes regarding his own art, and we all know how amazing he is. Self-doubt is always there and we need to punch through it. You will never know if you don't give it a try.
Yes. How it's done? I can't. Yeah.
You won't get better if you don't practice, and you won't learn if you don't fail. Why am I being so PSA today? Because I really do believe anyone should be able to reach their true potential regardless of color, gender, nationality or cultural background. This video was filmed way before the BLM movement started and I feel so silly right now for posting this, but I do know that laughter can make someone feel better, and this is why I'm here for. Laugh at me, laugh with me. Let's all stand together against racism and injustice. And that being said, I hope I made your day a little better. Thank you for watching until the end of this video.
I forgot my axe, so Steve had to get it, so she's not at me.
And I will see you next week. Bye!
Nice.